space vouchers as well. So if you have any brilliant idea, if you're able to convince us of an idea that you have, we are happy to guide you through the process. We have a mentorship program in that regard as well. So again, we are supporting people who may not have all of the infrastructure or the full capacity to ideate, but we would be there to carry you along the way. But of course, there are requirements for all of our programs, which I'll get to in the next slide. Then now we also have our Lagos State Employability Support Project, which we call our LSESP. Through that project, we have vocational skills training in various sectors: hospitality, engineering, construction, you name it. We have this program available whereby the beneficiaries on the program go through a 3-month training session, and then at the end of that session, if you do really well, you get placed in an internship or in employment, or you could even choose to apply for one of our loans and then start your own business and go on the entrepreneurship route. Now, finally, we have, sorry, one more thing under employability support project is something I'm very excited about. We have a labor market information system, which has been under development for a couple of years, and this is something that will continue to be developed over time. The purpose of this is to essentially be the repository for all data as far as employment and employability is concerned in Lagos State. So we're collecting data from various stakeholders, from the public and the private sector, from employers, from students, from job seekers, just to understand what the landscape is. And then through this information system, we'll be able to make decisions from the point of view of policy making to even employers in terms of understanding what the market is saying, for even employees and job seekers to know what the landscape is. It can even help in the selection of career paths to chart. So this is something very exciting. It should be launched very soon. So this is a space that you must watch. Finally, we have various grant programs, which are essentially interventions whenever there is an economic situation or an extraordinary situation that will require people to apply for support. Right now, this is closed, but should there be any need and should we be able to find the support, we would always provide it. Finally, we have this is just details on what our loan requirements are. Like I said, we have different loan categories, but one thing I really need to mention is that all our loans are available at a single digit interest rate per annum, not per month, per annum. For a whole year, they are available for a whole year minimum, but this can be extended depending on the size of the loan and your own business cycle. It is available for a single digit interest rate. Now we have moratorium for some loans and we don't for the larger loans. And our requirements are very basic and simple. You have to have your LIRS ID, you have to have your LASRA ID so that we know that you're a legal state resident. You also need to have your government issued identification, which is a passport, your driver's license, your voter's card, and so on. And for some of our loans, you don't need to have a business registered yet, but we encourage you to register your business because that's where you can scale and grow. And should you ever need to apply for a larger loan than what we can give you, you have your structure in place. So just look at us as an internship on business formulation and growth. And like I said, we're always here to support you. So other requirements are your BVN, your statement of account, and the guarantor, because we want to be sure that we can secure you, and your equity contribution. And just know that we don't even ask for collateral. So this is quite again, like I said, it's like a small step before going towards applying for larger loans. So that's essentially it for our programs in general. For business support units, which is why we're here today, we do different sessions on advisory, access to markets, incubation and acceleration programs, capacity building. We have a call center as well, and we have job creation hubs, which we manage across the states. So that is essentially it. I don't want to talk too much about that because we have a very exciting session to go into. And I'm very pleased to have this facilitator on board. She's a very busy woman, and For her to give us her time today, it means a lot. Now, you might ask, what is this session really about, right? The title of the session is Sustainable Business Practices for MSMEs, Leveraging the ESG to Scale Your Business. And what is ESG? ESG is environmental, social, and governmental. And it essentially means that what we're trying to deliver to you is to give you an understanding of how you can play in the sustainability space and ensure that you're optimizing your business for climate change and the sustainable economy. Now, I'm going to leave our facilitator to take us through the session in more detail because she's, of course, an expert in this area. And now I'd like to introduce her. Our facilitator today is none other than Mrs. Titilayo Oshodi. She is the special assistant she's a special advisor to the governor of Lagos State on the Office of Climate Change and the Circular Economy. So if you go around and you see OCCE written anywhere, just know that Mrs. Oshodi's office is behind that. Mrs. Oshodi is an accomplished administrative executive and change management leader who has transitioned from a marketing communications career to becoming a passionate advocate for youth empowerment and strong leadership within communities. With over 2 decades of experience in senior management roles in direct sales, marketing, and business development, Mrs. Oshodi has specialized in project management and has worked in London and Lagos. Her journey began driving experiential projects in corporate settings and later expanding to delivering impactful public relations work in the federal capital. Her exceptional capabilities were recognized when she became the Senior Special Administrator to the Governor of Lagos State. Recognizing the importance of designing effective leadership and policies for growing urban economies, Mrs. Oshodi firmly believes in the power of attitudinal change to foster citizenship that is responsible. As a communication specialist, she actively promotes education, advocacy, and mentorship to drive societal transformation and liberate individuals from regression and mediocrity. She holds a full membership with the Society for Corporate Ethics and Compliance in the USA and the Chartered Institute for Personnel Management, leveraging her expertise as a change management expert. She focuses on mobilizing youth through character education, aiming for impactful change and culture of excellence. She studied at the economics at the University of Ogun State. She's gone through courses at the prestigious Harvard Kennedy School, including policy design, leadership ethics, and climate change, economics and policies. She remains committed to continuous learning and professional development opportunities. She participates in various programs, including, I don't know if any of you heard of this before the elections last year, the Boseko initiative. It was a storytelling communication initiative, which was a brilliant way to capture the successes of the administration. And she generally enjoys meeting new people, engaging in critical thinking sessions, which we're going to have today. She's a special advisor on climate change and the circular economy to the governor. And she has a commercial hobby where she showcases her skills as a mixologist and barista through her enterprise called Nook's Cafe, a mobile bartending event service. Mrs. Oshodi leads a fulfilling life as a mother of 2, supported by her loving husband and a strong community of Christian friends and mentors. Mrs. Oshodi, have I done your profile justice?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Egbeyemi. Good morning, everyone. My app says that I cannot start a video, so I don't know why, but it's okay. If we're
we'll get
good.
our admin to sort that out because we need to see you in action.
I thought it would be nice to put a face to the name as well, you know.
Of course. Okay.
So welcome everybody, and thank you so much, Oyin, for that. Sometimes I listen to that profile and I wonder, who is that? Thank you so much for your candid words and also the intro, and especially applauding you and the LSCTF team on what you're doing. Even more intriguing is the fact that you have just joined the team in less than 6 months, and you're already spewing, the ideals and the intrinsic values of the Lagos State Economic Trust Fund, which is Employment Trust Fund, sorry, which is an absolutely wonderful agency. It's an agency that has touched lives, very, very impactful in building MSMEs. And it's clearly the landscape that we're going to be addressing today. I like the fact that in my profile, you can tell that I've also traveled the road of entrepreneurship, and I'm still trying to get a foothold, even though I've been in it for years and it seems like a side hustle right now. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. You just, because every time you see an opportunity, you see a gap, you think this is somewhere that you can play, and passion just pushes you into those spaces. So I thank you once again. So before we get into the video, I think we should just get the ball rolling with like 20 minutes down the line right now. And we're talking about the core principles of sustainable business. We're pushing the values that foster the need to have the ESG intrinsically engendered within the framework of any business organization. The core principles of sustainability encompass the ESG, which is the environmental, the social, and the governance factors. And these are factors that guide businesses towards responsible and ethical practices, right? And it's very instructive that in the line of change management, we establish this from a design perspective, from ab initio for businesses. Of course, I know that there are businesses here that are already running and already fully optimized, but it's also brings to bear what is ahead in the future and how we can, unpack what is required for you as a business to be strategically positioned as an MSME into the future. I don't know. I think that I'm supposed to have my slides. If you could just let me know if I should hold off or I can continue whilst you work on that. That would be good. I think that there are requests. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much.
So Shodi, you can turn on your video as well now.
Okay.
Attempt that.
Okay, fantastic. There I am.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I hope you can all see the presentation.
Well, I can.
Please confirm on the
confirm
chat.
in the chat box.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes, we can see this. We can see the slides.
So I have gone through. I think I'm possibly on the third slide, and I'm getting into elucidating what ESG is really about. And I was saying that at the stage or at the phase that we're at, it's instructive for us to integrate, the ESG strategies into business operations. Business owners need to start to embrace the framework of the ESG into their operations, because it would help to drive growth. It would help to create that long-term value that is needed to be sustainable. Can you hear me? People are saying I'm would you increase? I'm on the loudest on my laptop here, and some people are saying to be louder. Maybe you should increase your volume on your systems as well. And I'm very close to my speaker here. Except you want me to have a microphone, to hold a microphone. All right. So we're going to be sharing how the ways that we can integrate these ESG strategies into our framework, just so we understand the benefits of it. And we're starting with, like I said again, if we go to the third slide, and that brings to bear what the ESG is and what are the benefits of ESG. So the first is, if we look at, we've defined ESG. The next slide, please. Can we have the next slide? Yes. Okay, can we have the next slide? The next, I think that's the. Okay, thank you very much. So a brief, caption under the various pillars that the ESG represent. And you have under the environment, adopting environmentally friendly practices, within your business operation. The environmental aspect of the ESG covers the areas of how you reduce waste. How do you conserve energy, with the mechanisms, the mechanics of the operations that you run. We have offices that have signposts that say that you should switch off your electricals, your appliances, ensure that you have good use of electricity as at when you require it. Do not overconsume electricity. If you can afford to have enough illumination in a room, then do not be extensive about, pulling out all of your bulbs or all of your items for illumination, just for the heck of it, except you just want to use it maybe for aesthetic purposes, using sustainable resources, being as digital as possible, reducing the use of paper as much as possible, reducing waste in terms of how you generate waste, what are the things that are skewed or that are unique to a business environment, and how do you deliberately and intentionally manage that waste? And how do you also repurpose your waste? How do you repurpose your waste, for other uses? How do you recycle? How do you create a form of usage from either your paper or, the organic waste that is generated within the office, cables, lighting equipment, plastics within the office area? How do you create a model that helps regenerating those items so that they are used as resources rather than being discarded and ultimately ending up on the roads or in the gutters or in the landfills? So, we need to begin to take cognizance and, deliberate action around these things. And that's why it sits within the environmental, because the environmental aspect, the environmental pillar of the ESG. Organizations can lower their operational costs and enhance their brand reputation, and even attract environmentally conscious customers to their spaces, because it's beginning to be there's beginning to be a strong awareness for sustainable living, for sustainable practices, and in the global space, a company or a corporation or an MSME that begins to take these things into their expressions, into their activations, go a long way to present and position them visible for such marks that is required in the global space. So we need to implement green initiatives that can also lead to innovation, because as you continue to see these gaps, then you continue to have questions that help to build inventions, that help to build necessary innovations that technology can be used, to leverage the seamless operationalizations of these positions. Ultimately, this drives growth and also competitiveness within the market space. And as a government, it is within our own mandate to encourage businesses so that they are able to establish measures that can help them reduce their carbon footprint. And these are some of the things that I have also mentioned as I was talking. When you're conserving your natural resources and you're conserving and you're preserving usage of materials and optimizing them, what it does is you're essentially just adopting sources, you're adopting the milestones, you're adopting the needs and indicators that help you to be more compliant with climate change and ultimately for an economy that is green. Okay. The second pillar is our social pillar under the ESG, and that we call a social responsibility. MSMEs can begin to prioritize their social responsibility by promoting fair labor practices, by fostering diversity and inclusion in their practices, and also community engagement. I noticed also, I observed that you have talked about you're joining the team of the LSCTF, and you said that you have actually grown, within that period. When you're within a community where there is an index for growth, when there's an index for culture, inclusivity, that you're able to embrace the various diversity, okay. Okay, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? I think there seems to be, okay.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we are just having a network challenge on our end, but we're trying to resolve that.
All right, okay. Yeah. But should I?
So please go on.
Okay, all right. So those that you want to establish such culture within an organization. You want your place of business to be a safe haven. You want it to be a place where you are optimizing your talent, you are optimizing your gifting, you're optimizing your skill. You're able to leverage various technology, that is at your access, to be able to optimize your operations, right? So a healthy workplace, a healthy and safe workplace are strong indicators for growth. And that forms part of the indicators, that forms part of the indices for a social responsibility, because you want to build strong relationships with your employees. You want your customers to build trust, build a brand reputation. You can foster easily from that. You can foster a positive partnership culture. You can foster a positive social cause, within your environment, within the community that your business is domiciled in. You boost employee morale, and you're attracting even people. So we can mention a couple of corporations that are actually sitting in that space, and they have created that inspirational portfolio for themselves. People who work in those places, they live and they breathe the values of those companies, of the corporations that they work with. And that's because they have been integrated into the vision. They have been integrated into the values of the company, of the corporation. And this leads into increased profitability and productivity. So for us, as a government business, for a government office, it is our desire to invest, to encourage, to encourage businesses to invest in employee training, vision casting processes, training and development, promote health and safety in the workplace, and also support community development programs, in the spirit of diversity, in the spirit of inclusivity. Every person matters. There's a program that we're working on right now, one of the projects that we're working on, and it's called Leaving No One Behind. And that also sits within one of the indicators of the Sustainable Development Goals, isn't it? Everybody should feel part of a family. They should feel part of a group. They should feel part of a community that they are engendered into. And that's how you can that's how you can ensure and that you can guarantee that there will be productivity and profitability. So we encourage that, businesses prioritize social well-being, that they prioritize business, that they prioritize their ability to contribute to the overall sustainable development of the state. And then I'm still on the slide. I'm just about to round up. So if you take me back to the slide of governance, I can just swiftly run through that as well before we get to the next slide. Thank you very much. So within the governance pillar, we have, ability to institute. Businesses must be able to institute strong governance practices. They need to be able to drive transparency. They need to drive ethical leadership. They need to drive accountability within their operations. And what it means is that when you implement a robust governance structure and compliance mechanism, MSMEs can mitigate risks. They can build trust with investors and with partners, and they can ensure that sustainable growth and resilience is established in the face of challenges. You would also note, as an agency that deals a lot with MSMEs, the process that you have instituted to have loans available for your businesses. I'm sure that there are processes for due diligence, there are processes for accounting, there are processes for monitoring and evaluation, there are processes for driving and measuring impact as well. And these are the indicators that help you to measure the level of returns or the level of impacts that you are driving with the investments that you make in businesses. So that is a key part, of what we want to be able to establish as an office, as a government office. We want to be able to help businesses to emphasize the need for robust governance frameworks. How it is that it is important for them to include effective board oversight and infuse the necessary variables for managing their risks, and also to be able to engage their stakeholders. And in the process of transparency, in the process of collaboration, there must be consistent and continuous stakeholder engagement, because that's where you get to have those feedbacks that help you to adapt to the changes, to the evolving changes within the market space, and also be able to challenge your stand from the prism of global practices. And so all of this ensures the transparency that is needed, the ethical conduct that is needed within the private sector companies. And we always implore, it is our desire, what we want is to have businesses establish these ethical business practices so that, we can be able to reduce as much corruption as possible. We can institute as much compliance with the relevant laws and the policies and the regulations that guide, the operations of businesses. We can develop business opportunities. We can guide towards market access, and businesses can demonstrate their commitment for corporate responsibility. which is one of the things that we like to talk about within the space of sustainable engagement. So if we go to the next slide, the slide that talks about the value to global, the global, because I think that you're you're running ahead of my slide, but that's okay. We can. So we have I have talked you through what values position you for global credit valuation. What does that mean? What values are required of you as a business to be able to position for investment? If you take me back to the slide. I'm trying to look at my slide from here as well. So take me back to the initial slide, the one before. Take me back to the initial slide that says value to global credit valuation. Thank you. Back up. You're going back up to the. So we had talked about, that's it. Thank you very much. We talked about the sustainable environment. We talked about the global, the governance. We're talking about your access to capital, because these are things that you want to take note of. These are the factors you want to take note of. If you want to position yourself as a business, if you want to position yourself as one that is sitting within the space of global practices, efficient and effective global practices. So integrating the ESG strategies, for access to capital is also a very key factor for your positioning. You want to be able to establish socially responsible investors, and you want to have lenders who will be able to prioritize sustainability and ethical business practices. And this is one of the things that we also engender with businesses. When MSMEs demonstrate a commitment to ESG principles, they can access funding opportunities and they can secure the favorable terms, because it makes it easy, isn't it? You find that a lot of civil society organizations have access. They're able to access international funds because they already have these practices within their framework. They already have the proper documentations that they need, and they're able to unlock new sources of financing for their growth and possible expansion. So it is essential that through every pillar of operationalization, through financing, through customer relation, through business support, through administrative capacity, you're establishing the right framework for sustainability in those spaces. And then, of course, the competitive advantage that it gives you, because when you embrace sustainability, it differentiates you from others within the market. It sets you apart from competitors, and you become more and more appealing to a growing segment of environmentally and socially conscious customers. So we educate, we advocate that you align your values with those of the target audience that sit in that space, so that you can have the competitive edge that you need, so that your market share can be increased, and you can drive the growth that you need for your brand to have that reputable standing, and you can also gain customer loyalty. So why do we feel that it is important for you to embrace the values and the framework of the ESG? If we can go to the next slide, please. So who are the proponents of ESG? Who are the advocates, as it were? Who are the advocates of our ESG? And investors are a large aspect of it. Large asset managers and pension funds that are increasingly incorporating, they want this, they require this. It is part of what is a derivative of the global practices, the global standards in our space right now. Regulatory bodies also, so that, those who set the policies and the regulations, they want to be able to have access. They want to be able to determine performance. They want to be able to read and, draw up the necessary evidential statistical data that is required. And also consumers as well. Consumers demand more sustainable products and services. And, this continuously helps us to put pressure on companies so that they're able to improve their ESG practices. Next slide, please. So how do you grade an ESG? How is it graded? I'm going to talk about this, and then we're going to obviously talk about the values and the benefits. So I said that several ESG rating agencies assess companies' ESG performance, and these ratings, they vary in various methodology and focus, but generally it is based on how you drive your company policy, how you design your company policy, how you put into practice what you have designed in your policies, the necessary disclosures, and if I might add, also how you enforce, those policies in your operation, the indicators and signs, and, the thing about reputation is that word gets round. And so people know that if I say to you, maybe call out one of the telco companies and say which one is most reliable, or which one can you find anywhere, you're most likely going to be able to tell me the one that I'm thinking about in my mind. And that's because a reputation has been built over time, and it has become top of the mind for people. So they know that brand name is synonymous with this level of integrity, with this level of accountability. And these are the things that drive the values and the benefits of the ESG. One and foremost, within the practice of ESG, within a company, within an organization, you are able to share your vision. Once you're establishing a vision that is a communal one, that is a corporate one, it encourages the type of collaboration and partnership amongst your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are the public sector companies that you work with, the government entities, the civil society organizations, and, the BMOs, the business management organizations. And in doing all of that, if you're working together, you're able to address complex sustainability challenges. You can also share best practices, share best ideas, conceptual ideas. You can also, from resource management perspective, leverage the resources and the expertise that is needed for you to be able to optimize your deliverables. And this is one of the things that, if I might add, sits very well within the Themes Plus agenda of our dear Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, because at each point in time, I have learned, through my over 5 years working with him, that it is his, most deepened desire, that collaborations, PPP, public-private partnerships for projects, shared vision, shared ideals is pushed through many agendas. And it also sits also within that leave no one behind expression within the Sustainable Development Goals as well. It's a philosophy that helps to contribute to the overall success of sustainable development effort. And then also, if we talk about inclusivity, inclusivity establishes trust. So when you have a really good ESG framework, being driven, you're able to drive trust, and that also engenders a better understanding of stakeholder needs and concerns, and businesses can align their strategies, and can align their plans and their framework within the sustainable development goals. Within the space of inclusivity, you also have the ability to report, and there's a good level of disclosure because there's trust, and stakeholders can be allowed to assess their the sustainability efforts, and they can hold businesses accountable. When you're ready to be transparent, when you're ready to account for the processes and, your business endeavor, your business operations, then you can make informed decisions, because opportunities for collaboration, for counsel, for business support, it guides, when you want to make an investment, it guides when you want to foster partnership, when you want to design MOUs, design terms of engagement, terms of references, essentially inclusivity helps to foster all of that. Can I have the next slide, please? So we have, essentially talked about what the successes and the failures of implementation. If there is an inaction, or if there's a complacency, or if there's if I might call it a trivialization, of the ESG, or just an ignorance of it, you tend to fall behind in quite a number of things. And as we celebrate the successes of improved sustainability performance, where companies are able to make strides, they're able to improve, rack up points in the area of environmental footprint and improve their social practices. They also have the ability to declare performances so that they can get support when they're not financially performing as it were, when they require. And of course, investors are more comfortable to work with companies that are secure enough to be able to share their papers or share their progress. But then again, the failures also, we would say that the lack of it would make it difficult to compare companies objectively, because if you have a deluge of data that is not comprehensive, or you have a deluge of data that is not accurate, then you cannot make comprehensive and objective decisions for standardization, for investment. And also, greenwashing, as we have always heard that within the space, companies are there looking like they are working within that framework, they are really optimizing within the framework of the ESG. But then again, there are a lot of back-end compromises behind the door, and that comes across as a failure. And one of the things that we have begun to declare a big no about, because there is a fallout, there's a back end, and there's a fallout which ultimately affects growth and ultimately affects sustainability. And of course, ESG ratings may not fully capture all relevant sustainable issues because the scope is limited. Can we have the next slide? So we have a slide for the values to green economy. That's the one you want to. That's the one you want to present. Even though I think I have also, sort of touched on this as well, as we were talking, that, positioning yourself as a ESG compliant organization, or as MSME positions you for capital. It helps you to unlock the finance that is needed. There are various wallets right now that are available. The knowledge of it is one. The business documentation, your business support, your business case, also gives you the ability to access this sort of finance, this green financing. Sustainable development, within the principles of ESG, you can also help to guide your business towards environmentally friendly and socially responsible practices. And also, like I said again, you're bumping up your reputation management, you're bumping up your index as a brand that is reliable, as a brand that is accountable. And you can also be in line because you're opening and exposing yourself up for best practices, and you can encourage the sort of collaboration and partnership that you need and drive inclusivity and cohesion. So, how can we have our ESGs adopting how can we have our MSMEs, adopting the ESG framework? First, you need to be able to develop industry-specific and simplified ESG indices and factors. It's important that from now, as an outfit or as an entrepreneur, start to learn more about it, start to get more training, start to research on it, so that you're able to identify the industry that is specific to what you do and how you also deliver value within the sector of sustainability, so that the framework of ESG that you design will be skewed to your quality and your type of deliverable. You also start to provide training and resource, so that you're able to understand how to implement these ESG practices. For some who have started, how you can improve on it. And of course, the ability to access the grants, tax breaks. These are things that are available if you begin to tick those boxes. You can then begin to make considerable and legal applications, for tax breaks, for loan guarantees, and you would use your ESG performance as your criteria or as your score sheet, to accessing and achieving these things. ESG as a wealth distribution strategy. These are some of the areas that I would like for you, because I think we're going to go, if they're going to be question and answers, I'd just like for you to, take a snapshot of this slide and do some more research to help you understand. And that's the last slide. If you could just take us to the last slide, please. Take a snapshot of this and engender yourself in what is possible, what is available, what is accessible within the space. And we are here. The Lagos State Employment Trust Fund is also there to guide you through how you're able to get more understanding as ESG for a wealth distribution strategy. Altogether, in conclusion, it is our mandate, like I said, to integrate ESG strategies into business operations, to empower MSMEs to drive growth, to create value, and to build that sustainable future for these entities, and also for our communities as well. And our desire is that when you start to embrace the core principles of sustainability, our MSMEs can start to unlock the opportunities that are already inherent within the space. They can begin to strengthen their resilience, and also they are able to contribute to a more inclusive and sustainable economy that we all seek and we desire. So that will come So that will bring us to the end of our presentation. And I think that I will yield the floor to my able moderator. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Titilayo Oshodi, for a very well detailed session on how we can actually improve our ESG practices as part of our businesses. In fact, there was so much I learned from the session, and I'm glad I have your slides so we can get the information, because this is something that I know your office was established just in September last year. So it's a practice that everyone needs to catch up with, because we can't let the world move ahead of us. And just in summary, like environmental, social, and government, everything is interlinked, and it is relevant to every stage we are as businesses, whether government, whether we're working for our personal businesses, learn to learn better. Even we at LSCTF have asked the OCCE to train us on how we can improve our own practices, because there are many things that we're not doing, or rather we could do better. There's always room for improvement. Yeah. So there are many comments in the chat box, and there are comments, there were questions, and I'm just going to go through them one by one so that we don't miss anyone out. Okay, we have someone's AI assistant in the session with us, and that's a good indication of another
This is so
practice.
cool. This is really cool, honestly.
Yeah, good practice. Perhaps he wasn't able to make it to the session at the last minute,
Yeah.
or for whatever reason it was, but he's going to get this recording. So this is again BSU, something that you can use to make yourself more efficient. You can listen to the recording later. Although the recording of the session is available, it will be available on our YouTube channel. So if there's any parts you wanted to recap on, by all means, all participants, please go back to our YouTube channel. And we have a poll a poll up. So if you could please respond to that while we take the comments and questions, that would be great. Okay, so we have Adewumi Ayedun. Okay, MD CEO of a metal and steel detailing enterprise. Receptacles for recycles and waste bins fabricator. So I see that you're already in business.
Networking. There's already adverts and networking going on immediately. Smart.
In fact, very, very smart. They're actually a few in this regard, and I'm very happy to see that people are already playing in this space, because this is relevant. In fact, there was a time that we went to one of our own VTCs, and we saw one of your facilitators from OCCE there teaching them how to upcycle materials. So that's fantastic. So we have Wasiu Oyedepo. He's an alumni of, actually an alumni of one of our programs, Lagos Innovates. So thank you. And then on the question and answer, he's actually says that he's the lead researcher of Fish Love, which is a seed-funded program under the Frontier program. He's working with indigenous fishing company of Epe and co-design tools to understand environmental degradation amongst the fishing community. So he's looking to partner. So I guess it's a networking platform. We have your details, and for sure we'll take a look at fishlove.org.ng. Very interesting. Okay, so let me just look for more comments. So we also have a pencil manufacturer from old newspapers. I'm sorry, we haven't even gotten to the questions yet, but this is interesting. Old newspapers in line with the ecosystem based in Agege. I think that's OCC is actually the ecosystem.
Yes.
Yes.
We're taking note. I have our admin person also online. So
okay, online, fantastic. Okay, yes, we manufacture carbon. So Abielu Matthew, he manufactures low carbon cement, concrete products using solid waste. Well done to you as well. Just moving down to more questions or comments. Okay, yes. Well, we have your people are asking for the slides, Mrs. Oshodi.
That's fine. We can send that over. It's in your purview right now. So that's
awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. Someone is saying, are you going to talk on circular economy next time, please?
Well, I mean, why not? They're all intertwined, isn't it? And it depends on the aspect of circular economy that you want us to talk about. But I think that as a business, that is a sector of sustainability that you're sitting in. I assume that's where you sit. And what we're actually talking about is your business practice. How can you ensure that you're sitting comfortably where you can be attractive, where you can be visible, and where you can be sustainable? So it is like a foundation, circular economy. So your practices or your operational framework is where the components of ESG is in building, and we're building into that, so that when your circular economy practice or your circular economy business starts, you're well positioned. Like I said again, that you're skewing, you're specializing in the area of sustainable or green economy that can help you to be attractive to an investor.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Oshodi. Yeah, so essentially you have to make sure you're doing your practices the right way so that you're attractive and investor ready. Because there are many investors in this space. Everyone is aware and they want to help. So that's good. We have a question from Rosie Jacobs. She says I'm assuming you're a lady. She says she's really interested in this. We generate a large volume of fabric waste from our factory monthly. How can we recycle this?
So there are various ways. I know that we've had research, and staggering numbers of waste from the textile industry. And it happens to be the third biggest generator of waste, aside from agriculture. And I think one other as well, I can't readily remember, but I went for an event over the weekend and I saw how textile waste is being recycled into visual arts. And that's, just way down the line. And, I had photos taken and videos done, but for the creative industry, there's a space for textile as raw material for their expression. In the area, in a building, in construction, there's a place for textile as raw material to strengthen, the materials that they use for construction. There's a space, for textile in reproducing plastic materials as well. So there's a space for textile in upscaling. People who, in upcycling, sorry. People who use textile and reproduce them into, something else, into another fabric or another clothing, as it were. So what I would suggest to you, Rosie, and how I would recommend that you start to do a little bit more research. There's a long value chain for textile waste, for the reproduction, for recycling, for upcycling in the textile waste industry. And I would also suggest that you register. We're also beginning to build a business network. And within that space, we're beginning to segment the various sectors so that we can drive the necessary business support, the necessary training, the necessary education, for skills, in those areas, so that people can be more knowledgeable about how their waste can be managed.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mrs. Oshodi. I also wanted to mention that we have the link to your network requisition form, so we can send that to participants of the session afterwards. Actually, I can put the link in the chat box as well, so that anyone here can register, yes. And then you will have your details. And for any education, any thought leadership around the sector, you have direct access to it directly from the Office of Climate Change and the Circular Economy. So another question is, well, this is not really another question, but this is a comment. So Adejoro Ivijemi Lucy Okay, I think this might be for LSCTF. How do I open myself up for better loan or an investor? Well, actually, it could be for both of us. It's essentially putting your business in order. Your business structure has to be solid and in place because what investors look for is a basic structure. Your financial structure must be in place. Your organizational structure has to be in place. Your governance structure has to be good as well. And now your ESG, if you're looking for green financing, that needs to be in place as well. Mrs. Oshodi mentioned some of the successes, so indicators of successes, which are like improved sustainability performance, increased transparency, investor demand. So if you're doing the right things, then you get the right demand from the right investors in the space that you're in. I hope that answers your question. Mrs. Oshodi, do you have anything you'd like to add to
I
that?
mean, I think you basically touched on it. Apart from the intangible aspect of just being committed and being hardworking and try as much as possible to be resilient, we know that MSMEs, I'm talking from experience right now as an entrepreneur, it can be quite daunting, on that journey. That's why I always advocate that you're doing something that you're passionate about, so that when you go through the baby and the baby pang stages, ultimately you're getting to the place where you're beginning to float nicely, and you have committed all that you have, but your foundation must be strong. Your foundation must be airtight. That gives you, it's almost as if you want to run, you want to cut a tree, but you've spent a good number of hours just sharpening your axe, so all of the time that you are, expending knowledge, expending the skills, expending the resources that you need within the foundation stage, the foundational phase, by the time you hit your first attack on the tree with your very nice, shiny, sharpened axe, you're almost halfway gone because you're hitting ground and you're running. So your foundation, your business case, your whys, your money man machine, all of that has to be, tightly in place before you get off.
Okay. Yeah, that's resilience. That's something that's I don't know. I think it just goes without saying, but it's important to emphasize this. More comments are coming in the chat, but I'll just carry on with questions and then we'll go to the chat comments. We have someone who is a sustainability consultant expert based in Birmingham. Wow, thank you for joining all the way from Birmingham.
Nice.
Particularly excited when I saw the email of this conversation. Thank you for pulling this at such a time as this. This is a global concept. It's gaining so much traction now. Question: I didn't hear you talk about what Lagos State possibly through your office is doing to cash in on the carbon credit markets. We are a very rich blue carbon market, and there are currently blue carbon and green carbon initiatives that stand to benefit from the carbon credit markets.
Well, we're building up on that. Like I said, this is an office that has just come to fore. It came in September. We have facial projects and interventions that have been designed. Before you start to measure carbon credits, you must get people to be aware of carbon credits. You must get them to be aware of how to develop or reduce their carbon footprints and the modalities around how to record, imprint, and also be able to translate them. So we're still within the phase. We're just slightly over 6 months. So give us a little bit of time. We will tether into that place, and we will be just keep your ears to the ground. Let's connect, one way or another, and we will have more discussions on that when the time comes.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Oshodi. I agree with you on we're taking steps. We're putting one foot in front of the other as we go along in this space. I think advocacy is one big thing that we are even trying to drive jointly because people are not even aware of what they're doing with their waste and how useful their waste could be. Yeah, so there's a lot of learning to do, and by all means, Joseph, please keep in touch with us so that you can see us grow. We can even learn from you as well, since there's and have a value exchange in terms of the knowledge and resources we have access to. So please, if you don't mind, we would love to get your contact details and keep the conversation going, because there's a lot to learn and build in terms of capacity and development. Okay. And move on. How can one enroll for the TVET Skills Development Program? Okay, I think that's an LSTF one. We have one program that's already running, and the call for applications for the next round is not up yet, but we'll publicize when the next call is up. Thank you very much. Okay. Wasi Oyedepo, well, you sent all your contact details and your website. Love it. Thank you very much. This looks like your Twitter page. And the next question is from Paul Eden. For one who wants to develop a career in the sustainability industry, what would be the best approach to begin?
Say that again. I missed that.
Okay, for one who wants to develop a career in the sustainability industry, what will be the best approach to begin?
I would say, even though I think I don't want to sound like a broken record to say that you need to just start researching. You can't go wrong by research and reading up. But I would say that first and foremost, understand where is your passion point. You know, I think that the green economy is quite diverse, you know, and it touches on a lot of areas. If you want to sit in circular economy, you want to understand how to manage waste. And when you're managing waste, you also want to know that there are various types and areas and sectors of waste. You know, we have tires, we have paper, we have bamboo, we have newspaper, we have organic waste, we have textile, we have plastic, we have cosmetics, we have beauty brands, you know. So for your own sustainability, you know, if you want to go into circular economy, why you may want to ask yourself, what area, if I want something that is tangible, or are you a techie person? Would you rather go into innovation or invention, or, you know, developing apps and programs that can help, you know, with the seamless operationalization, you know, of the space of circular economy? Are you somebody who is good as a trainer? Are you good as a teacher? Are you good with words? You know, do you want to sit in that area and gain enough knowledge so that you're able to transfer skill, you're able to transfer knowledge, you know? So it's very, very diverse, but it will start from your research. It will start from, you know, which area that you are akin to, which area you are endeared to, and then you can begin to fine tune from there.
Yeah, agreed, Mrs. Oshodi. It is diverse. There's so many things. Some I didn't even know about. I can't remember what country it was. I saw this on the news where some gentlemen are using the waste from banana plants to make carpets. So that is a very, very interesting way to look at things. So I think one thing from what Mrs. Oshodi even said is that you really need to think about where it is your passion and your interests and your skills lie, and look for opportunities that fit into those skill sets. You might be very good with your hands, so maybe you want to go into manufacturing in that sense. You might be very good on, maybe if you have a social media presence, you can be good for advocacy. If you're like socially said, if you're good with tech, you might want to create an app that will help you count your waste management or something like that. So just think about it creatively, intrinsically, and then we'll go further. Okay, we have Wasi Oyedepo again. I think you're very, very keen on partnering and engaging, and I love the energy. So please, you're asking about how to partner with SDG office to better understand the government policies and sustainable and share our findings with the government. Okay, Mrs. Oshodi?
So the Economy Business Network is there. It's one of the platforms that we want to proliferate the market with, so that we're able to hear these ideas, we're able to interact, and we can exchange the values that is required for us to go to the next level. So I think that's the first thing that we should do. We've sent, there's a link there. If you could just, click on it and register. We will get back to you. There's a team that is working back end on this. So let's do that.
Okay. Yeah, I've just shared the link again, so that everybody on this call can access it, and please respond, register, and we'll register your information there so that we can move with it. Okay, I think we are done with the questions. Yes, very insightful. Just comments now. I'm looking at the chat box again. Okay, certification. Okay, so someone has asked about the certification of products from the circular economy ecosystem. Is there any certification? Yeah, perhaps maybe regulation or
perhaps standardization.
standardization. Yeah, that's what I meant.
It's still it's an industry that is still in the process of being regulated. You can't standardize if you do not have policies and regulations framework that would guide how it is operationalized, because you want to standardize in terms of quality. You want to standardize with billing, you want to standardize with pricing, you want to standardize with entry and exit into the market, so but it is, I'm happy to say that, it's a growing market. I'm happy to announce that there is actually a circular economy task force that has been instituted from the federal level. And, that creates a lot of excitement for us, because that means that there will be business opportunities. Government is already involved in it. They're interested in, helping businesses to scale. They're interested in driving advocacy and knowledge in those areas. So we will be talking about that, I'm sure, from the sovereign to the subnational, I'm sure, very, very soon.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, and I also foresee a lot of policy developments coming in both the short term and long term future. So this is an area that's where we're experiencing a lot of growth. So everyone just continue to watch this space for more developments to come. So Bukola Oladapo said, I joined the session to learn about the session. She's not in business yet, or he's not in business yet. Can you share major segments that have enjoyed funding and from which organizations? I don't know. Is this data available anywhere? I know you said that we should go and do a deep dive in the research. So I don't know if
can I share the major segments that have enjoyed funding and from which organization? I know those who work within the plastic, there are quite a number of organizations. There's a lady, Free, Ifedolapo. She runs a recycle initiative called Free Recyclers. And she's one of the ones she's one of our stars, actually, in the Office of Climate Change and Circular Economy. She has good, strong business framework. She has access. She works with the United Nations International Development, UNIDO. They even have started to advertise, because she's sort of just ticked all of the boxes in terms of accountability, transparency, financial management, and the positioning as well. She's positioned herself well, and she gets funding. There's a lady as well, Planet 3R, Adejoke. She also converts. So Ifedolapo converts tires to floor tiles. She makes flip-flops, really very nice, beautiful flip-flops, and she's also scaling bigger into other products as well. Planet 3R, Adejoke Lasisi, she does she uses plastic pellets to create to create bags and accessories. My laptop bag, give me a second. This is a laptop bag, and I have used this laptop bag for well over 3 years right now. I didn't even know what it was about until I came into climate change and circular economy slightly over 6 months ago. But I bought this bag, and it is so durable. It's so strong and so turgid, and very, 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 it stands strong through any weather. Rain falls on it, it's okay. But pure water plastic that has been broken into pellets. And, so she does jackets, she does bags, she does phone holders and stuff like that. And she has gotten funding twice from Bill Gates Foundation and I think another foundation. So there are foundations like that. And like I said, if you take them back to the slide that has the links, that can also, guide you into the areas. And, the thing about social media or the World Wide Web is that once you start to make requests or you start to brainstorm or interrogate issues, the cookies will, get you more and more links and areas where you can get to learn more. So research more. You'll definitely find a way around it.
Okay. All right, no worries. Thank you very much. I think most of the questions have been answered. I think people are just talking about their businesses. We help SMEs create brand. Okay, I think this is someone just putting their word out there. Print Booker NG. So everyone, if you're interested in branding, please by all means go to @Print Booker NG. Someone is asking for your LinkedIn handle. That's something you want to share.
Okay, so just Titilayo Oshodi, I'm sure if you just put that in there.
Okay, yeah. I think just Google Mrs. Oshodi and you'll probably find her online, and you can connect on social. Yeah. So there's one question that I just need to answer from the point of view of LSCTF. So this is someone asking why we deny a loan. It would be more encouraging to tell people why their loans are being denied for them to plan ahead for reapplying. And I want to thank you very much, Tony Jinadu, for asking that question. And this is feedback for us on giving you more information on why. And it's actually one of the reasons why we run these sessions, because we want to help people structure their businesses better. One thing that we've started to do this year is that for loan applicants that we have declined, we are pipelining them into some of our business support unit sessions so that you can get a better understanding of business structure. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to get in touch with us on any specific areas, and then we can answer you as well. So you can respond to the email through which, or the platform through which you got the invitation to this session on, and then a member of our team will reach out to you. So I hope that satisfies your question, and thank you for the feedback once again. Okay. So there are a few more questions, but I think something on someone asked about a hackathon on sustainability. I mean, I don't know. I think we can do anything on sustainability.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then someone was asking me, I know businesses like education section, cleaning business, car services, are they part of the green economy? See, this session is basically telling you that whatever business you do, it is part of the green economy. We are all here and we can't run away from it. The same way you need to have your financials in place at your business to make it sustainable is the same way you need to have ESG in place to make it sustainable. So that is where we're going with these sessions and our conversations and all initiatives around the green economy. So that's it. So thank you for filling out the poll. For anyone who hasn't done so, please continue to fill out the poll. Thank you for your feedback once again. Thank you for your questions. And Mrs. Oshodi, thank you for a very, very engaging session. I don't know if you have any final words to share with us before we end the session.
Just a minute. I'm also answering some questions here, so I just want to quickly just send that in. Right. Yeah, so thank you so much, Oyin, for this opportunity. It feels really great to be connecting to the target audience that this office is actually designed for. You know, we want more than anything to provide the services and the values that is needed from a government perspective for these MSMEs to grow and for them to be sustainable. It is embedded in our Mission 50/50 portfolio. You know, ultimately what we desire is first and foremost tackling the issue of climate change from a circular economy perspective. And that means that we want to ultimately be able to measure our impact as we reduce greenhouse gas emission on a 10% basis every year for the next 5 years, and also diffuse the unemployment bracket on a 10,000 number basis over 5 years. So that's where the 50/50 mission comes in. So what this is about is opening people's eyes into the space of green economy and helping them to begin to redirect their thoughts for wealth creation, for economic empowerment, for business scaling, and for them to be able to spread the word, also share it. You know, as I always say, that if we could have telecommunication proliferate the market space, touching on all sectors of the economy, then I do not see why we cannot have sustainable goals, sustainable environment, sustainable green economy. I do not see why we cannot have that sitting with us in Nigeria right now. Why? We have the numbers. You know, before we even start to talk about exporting our local and our mineral resources, how can we fully optimize and exploit, you know, the benefits that are therein? And also, how can we get our businesses to, you know, diversify, because we have these mineral resources at our beck and call, at our access, you know, at our fingertips. It's time for us to start making use of them. It's time for us to start establishing, you know, the needful with them. We have the numbers, we have the population, we have the eggheads, we have the technological know-how. We have, you know, there's no place that you find in Nigeria that is not thriving. So if we have a population of us together in a place here, and we're sitting on mineral resources that can effectively guide the wealthy countries into the green economy that they desire, then, you know, it's time for us to start to optimize these wealth that is sitting, these treasures that is sitting around us. So thank you so much. Please take a minute to you know, fill out the forms, fill out our polls and our quizzes. These are data that we need for us to be able to push us to the next phase. It helps us to analyze our performances. It also helps us to answer the questions on where the shortfalls are, so that we can also improve on ourselves, you know. And the economy link is also thrown on the chat. Please take a minute to just register. We're going to be running an induction on our businesses very, very soon. And there's a lot of benefits that have been provided within the Economy Business Network. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time sharing with you, and hope to see you guys soon.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Oshodi. Once more, very insightful session. Personally, I've learned a lot, so this is free knowledge for me. And I'm sure you can see in the chat box that we have some very well satisfied and learned people who have learned a lot from you. So like I said, we'll just continue to engage, continue to share in this space. We're all learning and growing together. And very many congratulations once again in this role, where you've actually taken it on as if you've been in it for many years, and it's very admirable. So thank you for your time once again. And yeah, that'll be it from me. I'd now like to hand over to our head of business support at LSCTF to do the final wrap up of the session. Someone called you professor, by the way. Maybe, I don't know. That's someone
Oh,
who knows
wow.
you. Yeah.
That's a long
Or
call.
you're getting there. I mean, I read your profile, so
Okay,
yeah.
if you speak it
Yeah.
into me.
Yes. All right then. Thank you. Fumi, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miss Titilayo Oshodi. And thank you, my director. You've done a great justice to the session. And I'm very sure that everybody on this session would definitely be going back with a lot of information. Having said that, kindly please join us tomorrow for our financial discipline session. This would also help you very much. And you can please join us as well for the digital literacy session happening on Wednesday. And we'll be wrapping the week up with our financial discipline session again on Thursday. So please do well to join all of this session and learn as much as you can. Thank you very much, ma'am. And thank you very much, Owen. Enjoy the rest of your day, all our participants, and see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.